Hello, today I have with me independent MLA from Vadgam, Mr. Jignesh Mevani. Thank you so much for joining us. I'll get straight to my first question. You've had a very eventful past few weeks, from your arrest by the Assam police, your rearrest, then your bail, and then your sentencing yesterday, which you said that, you don't, of the Azadi Kuch rally, but you said you don't regret it. You said you will challenge the decision. Can you just tell us about your headspace currently, because you're also going to be contesting the upcoming elections? How are you processing everything that has been going on these past few weeks?
To be very honest, not that easy to process all this. You are picked up in a brazen manner and taken all the way to Assam, 2,500 kilometers away. Not allowed to talk to your parents, not allowed to talk to your lawyers. You no clue what's going to happen, how many cases will be implicated, and then doing a very very frivolous kind of FIR involving a woman making horrible allegations against me. And then when I come to Gujarat, I hear certain stories which I can disclose here about me. The propaganda BJP has, uh, kept in the pipeline against me. How they want to tarnish my image in various ways, and now this conviction. So, and I mean it when I say it. As far as this particular case is concerned, simply for the reason it was one of the dreams of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, right? In 50s, when he was there, um, around 75 to 80% Dalits were in rural India. They were in villages, and most of them, even today, they are landless people. So we can imagine the landlessness amongst Dalits in those days. So Ambedkar always wanted Dalits to become land owner. They wanted Dalits to get lands, because land means a lot in the caste structure. So the case in which I got convicted for Azadi Kuch, for doing a kuch, a rally without police permission, was actually meant to ensure possession back to a Dalit family, and they were allotted land by the government 5 decades back. 50 साल पहले का जमीन था और उसमें गुंडे घुसे हुए थे, तो वो जमीन में वापस कर पाया, उस बात का मुझे बहुत आनंद है। ये बाबा साहब अम्बेडकर को मैं मिशन को आगे ले जा पाया. I could to some extent fulfill the dream of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, and therefore I'm really satisfied. So not bothering much about the conviction. However, we will challenge it in the appellate court, that is the sessions court. So yeah.
So you said it's not been easy to process, and more so because there are also elections coming up this year.
Yeah.
As an independent MLA, how do you view all this? Because earlier you said there are also some other, cases which you have to make an appearance in. With constantly summons and appearances, do you think this is a ploy to distract you from the upcoming elections?
Just not about distracting. They really want to destroy me. They've gone completely brazen and berserk. They're completely after me. Somehow they want to finish me.
When you say
Even
they, who are
filed
you
cases
referring
against me in Karnataka, they filed cases against me in Maharashtra, in Gujarat,
When
in
you say
Assam,
they, who are you referring to?
to BJP and RSS, to Modi and PMO, because they know that the reach of Gujarat, the reach of Jignesh is just not confined to Gujarat. When I speak, when I tweet, when I do interviews, when I do rallies, when I'm on a protest, my voice reaches to all across India. And there are millions of people, millions of youngsters, and particularly from the Dalit Bahujan background, who really like me, who really love me. They're really curious about me. They really want to hear things out from me. They see me as hope. So therefore, I can be a big threat for BJP and RSS in longer term. I have ideological foundation. They know that Jignesh in this lifetime will never compromise with BJP and RSS. Therefore, they have become so desperate. And when the elections are there, I'm technically yet to join a party, no resources, have been fighting, all alone with a small organization. And so they are trying their best to make life difficult for me in every possible way. They want to really get me entangled into cases after cases so that I can't move around much in Gujarat, particularly during elections. Somehow they, मेरी टीम के लोगों को डराया जाए, धमकाया जाए, प्रेशर किया जाए. तो 50 किस्म के हथकंडे ये लोग आजमा रहे हैं.
आपसे पूछना था, you've spoken about, you've not officially joined the party, but you've extended your support to the Congress.
I'm almost there. It's just because of technical reason I've shared it with the print and other media groups as well in the past, that if I join it now, if I take the primary membership, I'll disqualify as an MLA. And
Sure.
I should not be so greedy about it, because why should I deprive my constituents
Yeah.
for a few months? So just around the elections, I'll be joining the party, and party has been solidly with me in this entire episode of Assam. They provided lawyers, top quality lawyers, and all the people from the Kokrajhar, Barpeta, Assam PCC presidents, all of them have been solidly with me.
I want to ask you, what is the plan going forward? Because you said shortly before the elections, you will be joining the party. What is
So
the plan? Because the BJP has been in power in Gujarat for, a few decades now. So, looking at the elections, what is your strategy, if you can tell us?
plan, the only plan could be on the part of any actor or factor of opposition is to keep raising genuine issues genuinely. Unemployment, inflation,
When you
water
say
crisis.
genuine issues, genuinely, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, so that's what I'm coming to. Like in Gujarat, everybody's talking about Gujarat model and all from the BJP camp. But still, we have 45% children who are malnourished, who have 55% women who are anemic. There is severe water crisis in Kutch, Saurashtra, and particularly in North Gujarat. There is huge unemployment. There is enormous exploitation of this आशा वर्कर, आंगनवाड़ी की बहनें, सफाई कर्मी, मध्याह्न भोजन के कर्मचारी, होमगार्ड के जवान, पुलिस के कांस्टेबल. So raising all these issues, these are the genuine issues of the people of Gujarat, not Mandir Masjid, right? So ये मुद्दे उठाते रहना, ये हमारा कर्तव्य है. और बीजेपी का प्लान यही है कि ये मुद्दे उठाने वाले जो लोग हैं, उनकी आवाज को कुछ भी करके दबाओ, कम वोट में इनको रोको. That's their plan. So yeah.
No. So right now you're saying as a member of the opposition to raise, let's say, genuine issues genuinely, as opposed to what you said is what the BJP is doing. But in this, there's also the Aam Aadmi Party, which will be contesting the elections in Gujarat. It's now a three-way fight. How do you view their presence in this state?
Base here, they're like non-existing. They could crack it in a couple of pockets. Doesn't mean that they have a pan Gujarat appeal or image or organization or booth management. It's like they don't have much space.
So you're saying they don't have a presence. So how do you view their prospects in the elections then?
They don't have much prospects.
They
don't have much prospects.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. I also wanted to ask you, you said to raise genuine issues genuinely. My next question is is this what it will take to, let's say, remove the BJP from power in Gujarat, or what will it finally take? Because the last election in 2017, it was a close fight, but how do you then view, let's say, the prospects for this upcoming election?
Yeah, so like last time we were like just 7 or 8 seats away from forming the government. The match was very close. Right? This time there is greater anti-incumbency due to COVID crisis and the way BJP responded to COVID, right? They couldn't provide oxygen, no beds, despite of all the tall claims of Gujarat model. कल ही WHO का पूरा फिगर आया कि एक्चुअली 47 लाख लोग मरे हैं, राइट? तो गुजरात में भी हम लोगों का एक रफ एस्टिमेट है कि 3 लाख से ज्यादा लोग मरे हैं. इतना परिवार ये जो लोग सफर किया है, इस मुद्दे को हम लोग लगातार उठाते रहेंगे. अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट के सवाल को उठाते रहेंगे. While doing so, we are working on in coming up with a blueprint of creating a new Gujarat, right?
And
small and medium skills, how to revive small and medium scale industries, contractual सारे कर्मचारियों को permanent करना, to put an end to this practice of outsourcing, to come up with SC/ST supply net for Dalits, to ensure that we have modern equipments and robots to see to it that no sanitation worker has to go inside the sewer, to do something for the anemic women and malnourished children. If you want to set up GIDC units in almost all the talukas so that there is better employment, सारे सरकारी पदों को उसमें भर्ती हो सकती है. उन पदों में आने वाले 5 साल में those posts can be which are vacant, they can be filled. तो न केवल कांग्रेस पार्टी के लिए अच्छा हो, गुजरात की जनता के लिए भी अच्छा हो. इस प्रकार के सारे मुद्दों को वेल ड्राफ्ट करके जनता के बीच में हम लोग ले जाएंगे कि while reacting and responding to what BJP and RSS have done and have been doing, this is our positive proactive agenda for the people of Gujarat.
We spoke about the last elections where you said it was a very close fight, and we saw that in the results there. In the last elections, there was an emergence of the three young leaders who spoken about a lot, which is yourself, Mr. Hardik Patel, and Mr. Alpesh Thakur. How do you view Mr. Thakur, because he moved to the BJP? I mean, was there a bit of disappointment in his move? And how are you? And Hardik is contemporary. You worked
Yeah,
on various.
undoubtedly, it was really disappointing to see Alpesh joining BJP camp, because the way me, Hardik, and Alpesh, three of us were going together, and the kind of impact it was creating, not just in Gujarat, even outside, it was like really, really inspiring. I wish he was there with us, and
Are you
doors are
still in
always
touch
open
with him?
for him. But since he's not here, uh, you know, uh, I wish one day he will come back.
Are you hopeful that he will come back one day to the Congress?
Our hearts are open for him. Our hearts and doors are open for everyone.
Are you still in touch with Alpesh?
Yeah, we are friends, irrespective of party.
Sure. I want to speak to you where you said, your appeal is a lot more than just Gujarat. And, the youth, especially the younger generation, is excited or wants to know about what you're doing and what you have to say. In these elections, what is your outreach based vis-a-vis the youth? How are you reaching out to them, and what kind of a role will they play? Because they
So
take
I've
up.
been constantly raising the issue of unemployment, and not just raising it, constantly telling them these are the ways through which the employment can be generated. Secondly, I've raised the issue of unemployment and issues of paper leak. We have 20 to 23 cases of paper leaks in Gujarat, right? So those issues I've raised on streets, in media debates, and even during the assembly, right? So that's one. My second focus is on the working class, particularly amongst these contractual and outsourcing karmachari, which are also in lakhs and lakhs in Gujarat. So that's my second focus, and also Dalit, tribals, and minorities. So these are the three zones, three areas I've been focusing on. So these are the issues when I keep going to various parts of Gujarat, I keep raising. And I'm finding some resonance as far as these issues are concerned. And after I got out of the jail, the atmosphere is electrifying. There is tremendous momentum in my favor, in the favor of party. Dalits and Muslims and other poor exploited masses want to see me, meet me, take selfies. You know, they're coming to my houses, going to my offices in my constituency. So there is a lot of excitement. So we'll try to build upon that.
As a first time MLA yourself, you said you don't, I mean, you're an independent MLA. This is the first time you contest. You don't have the machinery per se. When you look back in your term, like it's about to end, what are the areas which you think, you worked on in your constituency, and the areas you think you could have done better in, or which require work moving forward?
Yes, so in my constituency, we exposed one scam of Manrega. 13 people got arrested, resulting into a situation कि वहां के सारे बाबू लोग समझ गए इस मामले में मस्ती करेंगे तो मर गए. तो उसके चलते मेरे कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी पूरे नॉर्थ गुजरात में एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेशन में थ्रू मनरेगा इट इज लाइक नंबर 1. We could provide employment to 12,000 people in my constituency. We could provide housing plots to some 500 people. Since I've contested and won from a reserved constituency, जिन लोगों ने मेरे विधानसभा क्षेत्र में वोट दिए उनके साथ साथ इट्स माय ड्यूटी एंड रिस्पांसिबिलिटी टू बिकम द वॉइस ऑफ दलित्स अक्रॉस गुजरात. That job I've done brilliantly. I've been the voice of voiceless people, voiceless Dalits, through agitations and struggle, and through my interventions with administration and bureaucrats. We have been able to provide possession of some 3,500 acres of land to the landless Dalits, which is huge. The market price will go around 300 crores. We could set up Gujarat's biggest oxygen plant in my constituency during Corona crisis. We came up with one trust called We the People. Then the BJP people filed a frivolous complaint against it, making false allegations in the typical BJP style. Then the matter got at the charity commissioner. Our account was freeze. Then we moved to the High Court. High Court got convinced, and finally, out of my MLA funds, we could create Gujarat's biggest oxygen plant with a capacity of refilling 800 jumbo oxygen cylinders daily. तो ये पूरा कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी का काम है. एक चीज मुझे लगता है कि जो मैं नहीं कर पाया, मुझे एक लाइब्रेरी कम कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम्स की प्रिपरेशन का क्लासेस दोनों एक कंबाइंड हो, ऐसा कोई एक स्ट्रक्चर मुझे वहां खड़ा करना था. So hopefully next term.
आपने कहा कि आप इलेक्शन के मतलब पहले मतलब जस्ट बिफोर द इलेक्शंस आप कांग्रेस ऑफिशियली ज्वाइन करेंगे. Are there any talks about your larger role within the party? What will your role per se be within Gujarat or even nationally? As you said earlier, your presence is beyond the state. Are there any talks, and can you tell us about what your role within the party would be?
So party is seriously focusing on SC, ST, OBC and minority. We have Mr. K. Raju, who is coordinating with all the 4 departments, all the 4 wings of Congress party: SC department, ST department, OBC department, minority department. Now, so when we are planning agitations or when we are planning some sort of seminar or conferences or dialogues, it is just not for NC department. When SC department is doing something, Congress party and K. Raju sir to take me in all the states, and I'll be meeting all the party cadres, and particularly will be doing various activities with 4 wings of party in coming days. But as on today, I'll be focusing more in Gujarat. And once the Gujarat elections are over, I'll be going to all across India, keeping that mission in mind. And we'll also be focusing in Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh when elections will be there. So youth in general, working class and Dalit in particular, these 3 will be my area.
Sure. I wanted to ask you, as a member, soon to be member of the Congress party, with the recent elections that have just passed, with the results in Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Goa, Manipur, the presence of the Congress has reduced substantially in these states. What is it you think the party needs to work on? And do you think that these results or the BJP's win in these states will have any effect in Gujarat?
So frankly speaking, when chips are down, when you're losing in 3-4 states, it will definitely going to have some psychological impact in Gujarat and outside. But then what is the way out? The only way out is you keep the momentum going. You let yourself full of hope and energy and optimism. And that's how you have to go. That's what your approach should be. BJP people are targeting me. What do? I have to fight. So that is the only way out. And we are youngsters. We'll fight it out.
Sure.
We know that at the moment, there has been a psychological impact of these 4 states results. But in Gujarat,
there has been an impact in that sense within the electorate. There has been an impact.
Absolutely, amongst party cadre वो थोड़ा होता ही है, लेकिन उसके बाद जिस प्रकार से विधानसभा में हम लोगों ने बीजेपी को घेरा, अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट के मुद्दे पे हम लोग लड़े, सड़कों पे उतरे, सड़कें जाम की. अभी मेरा जो हेरेसमेंट हो उसके चलते हजारों लोग सड़क पे उतरे. आदिवासी इलाके में एक बहुत बड़ा मूवमेंट हो रहा है. We are planning very soon something for the
Mr. Anand Patel. You were sharing.
Anand Patel is doing a very good job. He's doing a very good job.
Sure.
और तो ये सब हो रहा है तो लड़ेंगे. उम्मीद पे दुनिया कायम है.
And finally speaking, if you are seeking a re-election as an MLA, what will your plan be moving forward? We understand your plan within the party, but I'm just saying your plan moving forward as an MLA in Gujarat if you are re-elected.
Yeah, as I said कि जो बतौर MLA में पिछले टर्म में जो किया हूँ, वो और एक बार रिपीट हो. और उसके अलावा 2-4 नई चीजें, नई कुछ क्रिएटिव इनोवेटिव चीजें करके दिखाऊं. और 2-4 इंटरेस्टिंग बिजनेसेस मुझे वहां खड़े करने हैं, which is something which goes with the व्यापारी mercantile culture and ethos of Gujarat. तो उस फ्रंट पे कुछ करेंगे, which is little unlike me. I've been more a protester, demonstrator. While I have been an agitator, demonstrator, protester, वो एक पार्ट तो किया है. जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी में जो डेवलपमेंट का काम किया है उसके ऊपर फोकस हो और भी कुछ नए इनोवेटिव क्रिएटिव आइडियाज मेरी कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी को लेकर आऊं और उसके ऊपर मेरा फोकस रहेगा. लेकिन वो तो चुनाव जीतने के बाद की बात है. अभी तो चुनाव लड़ा जाए, जमकर लड़ा जाए. दैट शुड बी माय फोकस एंड आई एम फोकसिंग ऑन दैट.
And my last question to you, as you said, you've been someone who's been on the ground. You're an agitator in that sense. From whatever you can see on the ground, is this the year where the BJP, you think the BJP will be unseated in Gujarat, or
BJP can be defeated? There is enormous amount of anti-incumbency, and the Congress party, without being much vocal, very focusing on organization building and booth management, identifying the right kind of candidates. वो सब जो चल रहा है internally, so I'm really optimistic and hopeful about that. और जिस
But do you
प्रकार
think
से
it's
कोरोना
too
के वक्त
soon to
उनको पूरा
say?
कैबिनेट को बदलना पड़ा,
हाँ,
that gesture tells everything because they must have received a feedback from the ground, from their cadre, RSS cadre and from IB as well, कि सिचुएशन बहुत ज्यादा खराब है, कबाड़ा होने वाला है। और जिस प्रकार से आपने कोरोना में कबाड़ा किया, तो उसी के फीडबैक के चलते दे हेड टू पूरा चेंज द एंटायर कैबिनेट। सो बीजेपी इज नॉट इन गुड शेप।
Sure, sure. Thank you so much for joining us. I know you have a very busy schedule. Thank you for taking time and speaking to the print.
थैंक यू,
Thank you so much. For
थैंक यू
more,
सो मच।
speak to the print and follow us on our social media handles.
यस, उम्मीद पे दुनिया कायम है।